Hey guys, today we are doing the Battlefield 5 review. So, first off, Battlefield 5, as you know, has been out for a few months, and with some of the bug fixes and things that have happened, and some of the small things, and me being able to play the game long enough for me to get a good feel for it, I feel like it's time for me to be able to say, here's my opinion on the game, here are my recommendations, and here's how I feel about the game. So, okay, let's start off with what Battlefield 5 is. Battlefield 5 is a World War II shooter with a semi-realistic, leaning more towards the armor range than something more arcadish like Call of Duty, and it's actually gone in a farther swing towards that with the new time to kill, weapon, and health mechanics, which are very interesting for a game like this. So, as you know, World War II was a very large war and has been covered in several video games. And actually, Battlefield got its start in 1942, well, not in 1942, but in the game 1942, which was Battlefield 1942, which was a very popular game at the time, looked nothing like the games we play today, and was a very good hit. Now, of course, there were a few other games that were put out in the World War II setting. Then they went on to the more present-day setting in titles like Battlefield 2, Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4, and to an extent with Battlefield Hardline, which was a little bit of the oddball of the family. Then we reverted back in Battlefield 1 to more historic wars. So now we're back at World War II again. So the franchise has come more full swing. And that's very cool, but some of the more iconic World War II things aren't in the game. So first, let's start out with the World War II feel of the game. As you know, there was two World War II games that has come out pretty recently. COD World War II came out last year. It was a mediumly thought of game. A lot of people weren't a fan of it, but there were some people that felt very strongly on how it was good. Personally, I enjoyed the game, but it wasn't the greatest game. So, now there's Battlefield, who came out with World War II. Now, this game has some definitely flaws, but every game is going to have flaws, but it also has some very fun mechanics and things that make the game very enjoyable. So first off, I'm going to give my basic opinion before I get into all the details of I think this game is somewhere in the middle for me. I don't really love it, I don't really hate it. I enjoy the game and I like it, so I guess we're going to say it's in the like range. I don't hate it, I don't not like it, but it's not as fun to me as a game such as Battlefield 1 or even Battlefield 4 or Battlefield 3. I enjoy all those games, have played them, and really do enjoy playing them, so I'm not going to say that that game is anywhere near these. But it's near them, but it's not. It's kind of in that back, right behind where the ballpark is. It's close, but it's not right there with them. So, first off, let's talk about some of the changes that they've made with this game. So if you've played some of the older Battlefield games, you know it used to have regenerating health, so you'd get shot, you'd have the little red screen come over your face, and then you'd wait for a little while, you'd heal up, then you'd go again. They changed that in this game to to a manual healing system, that is now to where you start out with one bandage that brings up your health so much, and you must either go to a medical station or find a medic to give you bandages to be able to keep healing yourself when you're damaged. So that was definitely a large change with the game. It changed a lot of the pacing because you can't always be as aggressive. Now also you have that. That was a big change. Also they changed our ammo. If you remember guns in Battlefield 1, you could start out with a gun like the Hell Regal, have 300 rounds of ammo, and just go spraying down people for a long time. Now you're going to start out with, I think, 2 to 3 mags, and you're going to be able to fight for a little while, but you'll get ammo from kills and things like that, so you will gradually gain and lose ammo. But yeah, it is changed, and you don't just start out with an insane amount of ammo like you used to. Also, they added in more of a defensive mechanic in the form of building. Now, I play on Xbox for the Battlefield games. I play PC too, but not for Battlefield right now. If you push down on D-pad, you can access a little hammer. It looks like a toolkit, but you actually pull out a hammer in your hand. It allows you to build fortifications such as sandbags, barbed wire, things like that definitely help you if you're trying to hold down the position, or it can help you build like supply stations, which is definitely an interesting addition to the game. So I think that personally, something like that is really welcomed in the game. Personally, me and my buddies would sometimes have to hold out to try and win a game by holding a position, and being able to build would have been so much fun, and we enjoyed it in the beta and we enjoyed it in the base game. So that's very nice, but those are the main three changes. I mean, of course there was maybe a little balancing change here or there, but those were the big three changes that changed the whole game. Now let's talk about some of the classes. The classes in this game are the same as Battlefield 1: Assault, Medic, Support, Sniper, or Recon. As you know, if you've played a game but if you played a Battlefield game but haven't played Battlefield 1, you're probably used to hearing Assault, Engineer, Support, Recon. Well, basically what they did was the Assault always acted kind of like a medic, and so basically what they did is they took the stuff that was anti-vehicle, gave it to the Assault class, and made the medic into its own class with better healing items and things like that, which personally I'm a fan of for being a game that's very team-oriented. So it definitely changed some balancing issues. It definitely created some things, well, not balancing issues, but it created some issues of how weapons were dealt out and given. So in Battlefield 1, the medics usually had some sort of kind of like a medium range assault rifle, and then a lot of, like, I guess you would call them marksman rifles. I always felt like they were useful from kind of a medium range or long range, and if you were good with them, or if you had the certain variants, you could definitely use them for close range too, but you were definitely built for medium to long range. So that was definitely nice, and a lot of people played medic for those weapons, and unfortunately some of them did not play a medic type character. And I know there's a joke going around, you know, the meme, the Battlefield medics don't care and all that, and unfortunately some of them giving us those good weapons in that class did make it true. But we still enjoyed him, and it was really good for the class because he could defend himself and pick up people if that was his intent. So, now that I explained this to you, I only tell you all this because they kind of nerfed inadvertently the medic class. They took away everything. They took away the medium range and long range kind of assault rifles and marksman rifles and gave them to the assault class, and then give the medics only the SMGs. And now if you played Battlefield 1, you would know that in Battlefield 1, the SMGs and some assault rifles were given to the assault class, and then some assault rifles and all of the marksman rifles were given to the medic class. So that was definitely a very good, very well balanced thing. So in this game, we were very disappointed to see that. And to me personally, that's actually discouraging people to play medic in a game that was supposed to be meant for people to play more team-oriented. So personally, I'm not a fan of that. And for that, I would say they need to give more medic weapons or an assault rifle or two to the medic class. But besides that, all the other classes, recon, support, and assault, are all very fun, have good weapons, and are very well balanced. So they're very fun to play with, and they're very enjoyable. So, yeah, past that, I would definitely say that past that, the classes are very balanced and very fun. Now, let's talk about the maps and some things like that. The maps I would say are fun. I'm not a fan of certain ones, but none of them I would say I hate. Just some I'm not the biggest fan of. I'm not ever going to say that there's just like the worst map ever, but it's very fun and they're enjoyable to play, so I can't really complain about them. And they're very fun. Also, vehicle combat is very fun. I enjoy the tanks. I'm not as big a fan of the planes because they move faster, but that's just because I'm not a very adept pilot. So, I definitely enjoyed the slower planes that give me more time to think in Battlefield 1. So, that's just a personal problem, but I've talked to a lot of people who are very good pilots, and they say the planes fly well and do. So, I'm definitely glad to hear that because I know the pilots are a very niche but very good group of Battlefield players. So, now that we've talked about that, let's talk about some of the choices that Battlefield has made. And that's usually why I wait to put up these videos, because I can discuss some of the good and bad choices that Battlefield has made. Because as developers and as a company, you're going to make good choices and bad choices, so I want to talk about the good ones and then talk about the bad ones too, so you know about them before you're into the game. Now, Battlefield games in general have always usually started out with some bugs. Battlefield 4 being the very peak of bad bugs, with some bugs being game breaking, and some just making it to where the game felt completely different or completely buggy, and it just ruined immersion or things like that. Now, Battlefield 1, in my opinion, was a very well-polished game. I really rarely ran into bugs, and if they were, it would just be like a wacky ragdoll or something. Yeah, it may mess up your immersion if you're trying to play super realistic, but it was really just a fun glitch. And yeah, I mean, if you've watched on our channel, there's some Battlefield 1 glitch videos that are pretty funny. Now, I say that to tell you that Battlefield 5 is not nearly as bad as what Battlefield 4 was. It was an okay polished game. I'm not going to say it was as well polished as Battlefield 1 when it came out, but it's an okay game. There's the biggest glitch that I came in contact with a lot was a tank glitch to where the tank turret would move. You could not move the actual machine gun on top of the tank turret without the tank turret moving. So I would have to stop the tank, let my buddy hop out, and then get back in it so where he can move the tank turret, which is very difficult for somebody who uses a lot of vehicles like I do. So, yeah, that was definitely annoying. But past that, I honestly felt like the game was very well polished. Now, there are a lot of things that I think EA needs to fix, but nothing game-breaking is what I want to discuss. You know, nothing game-breaking, but a lot of things that could put players off if they really like... I mean, the polish of the game is kind of chipped, but it's not completely ripped apart. So, this is the only reason I tell you this is because I don't want to make it sound like the game's broken, just horribly on repair, but I do want you to know that it does have some problems. So, yeah, if you've been watching any of the EA news, there's been a lot of drama surrounding the TTK change, to which Battlefield 5 looked at some numbers and thought that the people were dying too quickly, so they were afraid that the Christmas noobs, basically, would not be wanting to play the game because it was not as well optimized for them. Basically, it was a hard game with a skill gap. It was pretty large, so they wanted to make the skill gap smaller. Which, you know, in most games, like, okay, you want to make a skill gap where it's very accessible, but nobody else except the Christmas noobs was having difficulty with the game. So, it was very aggravating for core players like me and a lot of others who had trouble with these small bugs that we really wanted those fixed first. So I think EA made a big mistake in not fixing bugs before they changed the TTK. But past that, they've been supporting the game and there's still some stuff that needs to be fixed. So I would kind of give them a B, a middle B, for just a grade level on how they've managed the game. But I would definitely say it's not as bad as some other games, but it does need some polish in doing, and they should have been worried about that instead of TTK, just to address that with y'all. So I'm going to tell y'all that this game is one I would recommend if you've got some money from Christmas, you know, and you're looking for a good game to play. Maybe you've got an Xbox card. This is a very fun game if you're looking for a very milsim-ish, somewhere milsim, somewhere kind of arcadey, in the middle of that kind of game. I made this video because I know Battlefield is a very popular franchise. I don't cover it as much on my channel, so you don't get as good of a feel for it. But I do want y'all to know how I feel about it, and I do want to give y'all some advice if y'all are looking at a game to buy for with some Christmas money. Now, if you're looking for more story-driven games, I would definitely not say this one, because this game, it has some little stories in it that are intriguing, but they're not something I would buy a $60 AAA title for. But if you're looking for a fun multiplayer, kind of middle of the road between milsim and not game, this is a very fun one to have. So I'm going to just leave it with, if you like these type games that I've described, you know, milsim-ish, I would get it. Well, not really, somewhere between a milsim and an arcade-ish gun game. It's a very fun game to buy, and I would buy it. But if you're looking for more story-driven, I would definitely recommend ones like Assassin's Creed Odyssey and Red Dead. So, before I sign off, I'm just going to address a little bit of our business, and then go on. So as y'all know, y'all can probably hear the difference. There's hopefully not as much air running around my mic. I've got a new mic. I'm really hoping that's going to improve some of the audio quality on some of these. So leave a comment if I'm too loud or too quiet, because I haven't got this thing perfectly adjusted to where I want it to be. But I'm really trying to get some better video quality. Also, I'm going to be doing a video. One of my family members is going to be doing like a video commentary, because I really want her to be able to see what I do and how y'all react and do. So just please, if you see the video, you'll know what title it is. It'll be a pretty obvious title. I'm going to leave it as a little bit of a surprise, but it'll be a pretty obvious title when it comes out. So just come out, check it out, watch it, give her a little bit of support. I really want her to just see how this community works and how y'all support me and I get content for y'all, and we just kind of have this back and forth deal. Also, guys, we're 1 sub off of 30 subs. And my goal has been all of this kind of Christmas break and Christmas month, I guess you would say, has been to try and hit 30 subs. So if you have a friend that's a gamer and he might be interested in he or she might be interested in this content, just please, send them to me. Just say, hey man, you might want to check them out, because I appreciate that, and I really want to see if we can hit 30 subs. I can't be any more thankful than I already am for how much you've helped me grow this channel. We're getting close to being a year on the air, well, on the web. So I definitely want to thank y'all for that, and I definitely do want to try and ask y'all to help me out with hitting 30 subs. I'm about to sign off today, guys. I'm going to be coming with y'all with the next map review soon. I'm debating either going with the Black Ops Pass or kind of making a stand against this horrible DLC, but it will also help me out as a YouTuber. So guys, I hope y'all have a great day, and please leave a like, please subscribe, and just tell me if y'all want any type of content. Okay? Bye.